Balance is the holy grail for coaches, and it slipped through Mauricio Pochettino's fingers at Chelsea last season. He revived Chelsea's attack, scoring 77 goals in 38 Premier League matches, making them the fifth most prolific team. Yet, their defensive woes, conceding 63 goals, kept them out of the Champions League and Europa League. New head coach Enzo Maresca has not been hired as Pochettino's replacement because he is a defensive specialist. His tactical philosophy is similar to Pep Guardiola's approach, having worked under him at Manchester City in 2 separate spells over the past 4 years, and prioritizes defending with possession. But how the back line is structured in different phases of the game is vital to the integrity of his system, and it will make new demands of the defenders at his disposal. Those demands will likely shake up Chelsea's defensive hierarchy. Here is a closer look at how that might play out. Maresca's favoured starting formation as Leicester City manager last season was 4-3-3, but for the bulk of their 46 championship matches, they were arranged in more of a 3-2-4-1 shape. Ricardo Pereira, the nominal right-back, shifted infield into the base of midfield alongside Harry Winks, giving the 3 remaining defenders another forward passing option and freeing up the 2 attacking midfielders. The left-sided one was Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, who has followed Maresca to Chelsea, to push higher into the attacking half spaces. One aim of this tactic was to give Leicester numerical superiority in the middle of the pitch, offering greater control in possession and more options to progress the ball upfield. Another was to better equip the team to defend counterattacks, with 2 players holding their positions in midfield to protect those 3 defenders. Maresca would even instruct Pereira or Hamza Chowdhury, when the Portugal international was absent, to hold his midfield position when Leicester lost the ball, in order to keep the team in a better shape to press high and quickly win it back. Only if the opposition evaded the initial press and kept the ball did Pereira return to his right-back post, which, given that Leicester enjoyed 62.3% possession on average in the 2023-24 championship on their way to the title, was not very often. Chelsea will surely look similar in 2024-25. The first consequence of that will be for the fullbacks, who will no longer be called upon to provide an attacking threat with overlapping or underlapping runs. Instead, one will stay back to remain part of a 3-man defence while the other pushes into central midfield, forming half of a double pivot. Last season, Maresca always inverted his right-back into midfield, but there are already signs that he at least wants the option of doing the same thing with his left-back at Chelsea. While not guaranteed to be an immediate first-team signing, Renato Veiga has been signed from FC Basel in Switzerland because he is considered capable of functioning in defensive midfield, as well as on the left of a back 3. Marc Cucurella has similar positional flexibility, having showcased his ability to invert into midfield under Pochettino in the final stretch of last season. Deploying Cucurella in a 3-man defence is dicier since his small stature 5 feet 8 inches makes him a target for opponents to exploit with back-post crosses. Levi Colwill, at almost 6 feet 2 inches, is far better aerially and can lean on his left-back experience gained last season, though he sometimes struggles when defending in space against fast wingers. The odd man out here looks to be Ben Chilwell, a more conventional fullback who excels at surging up the left to support attacks. Pinning him in a back 3 wastes arguably his best attribute, but Chilwell lacks the experience of moving into midfield and navigating small central spaces. Regardless of whether Maresca inverts from the left or the right of defence, his fit is unclear. Reece James might be Maresca's best choice to invert into the base of midfield. His close control and passing range are far beyond those of a typical fullback, and he played the vast majority of his first season in senior football as a central midfielder while on loan at Wigan Athletic in the 2018-19 Championship season, English football's second tier. The only issue is that, for long stretches of his Chelsea career, James has been one of their most dangerous attackers, supplying pinpoint crosses and cutbacks from the right. Even if James is Maresca's first choice for the role, he will need to explore alternatives during the upcoming pre-season, partly because of the 24-year-old's lengthy injury history and partly because he will miss the first 3 Premier League games of 2024-25 through suspension after a straight red card against Brighton and Hove Albion in the penultimate match of last season. Malo Gusto also possesses the technical quality to potentially adapt to the role, having played as a number 10 for much of his youth career at French club Lyon, but he too is a potent crossing threat further forward. With the possible exception of Cucurella, all of Chelsea's fullbacks would require varying degrees of adaptation to operate at the base of midfield and move in the traffic, as Maresca puts it. His system will also place new demands on the centre-backs and goalkeepers. The middle defender in Maresca's back 3 is a key player. With the ball at his feet, he must identify and find the free man in midfield. Against opponents who congest the middle third of the pitch, that free man might actually be the number 9 dropping deep or one of the wingers isolated against their fullback. It is a role that requires tactical intelligence, a high level of technical proficiency and reliable decision-making. Thiago Silva, the man who occupied that role in the middle of Tuchel's back 3, is no longer at the club. All of the other centre-backs who featured under Pochettino got exposed, to varying degrees, by a less heavily structured system that tended to disintegrate under duress. Of those available to Maresca, Colwill and Benaroya might be the most technically accomplished passers, though both will need guidance and practice in setting the passing rhythm of their team. Dosin Adarabioyo was signed as a free agent after leaving Fulham in part for his comfort level on the ball, and Trevoh Chalobah has played a lot of football as a defensive midfielder. The other centre-back in the three-man unit must be comfortable defending wide areas in transition scenarios, on the left or the right depending on which fullback has inverted into midfield. In moments when opponents press Chelsea's three-man defence, Maresca will want the goalkeeper to push up and become the free man in a de facto back four. When they receive the ball, his keepers are under strict instructions to pass it short. Last season Leicester's number 1, Mads Hermansen, launched passes 40 yards or more only 17.8% of the time. His distribution skewed even shorter than Chelsea counterparts Robert Sanchez and George Petrovic, who launched the ball long 21.3% and 22.1% of the time respectively. Sanchez is expected to begin the coming season in the team and produce stretches of solid short distribution during the previous one. But there were also enough slow decisions and passing errors to make Chelsea fans very nervous, and ultimately Pochettino lost faith in him. Replacement Petrovic took fewer risks on the ball but turned over possession with long kicks more frequently as a result. It is hard to shake the feeling the new head coach lacks a great option here. Chelsea should improve defensively in 2024-25. Maresca's approach of keeping 5 outfield players behind the ball when in possession is very similar to that of Tuchel, who built the most formidable defensive structure in European football at Stamford Bridge virtually overnight after being appointed in January 2021 and laid the foundation for a remarkable Champions League final triumph 4 months later. The current squad does not boast anywhere near the level of experience Tuchel inherited back then, but Pochettino set a historically low defensive bar for his successor. As long as he obtains and maintains a good level of buy-in from the players, Maresca should have no problems clearing it. A trickier question is whether Maresca can maintain the attacking potency Chelsea found under Pochettino while keeping 5 players behind the ball to defend transitions. Tuchel's early success was built on an impenetrable defence and a smart, smothering press, but offensive production eventually nosedived as Chilwell and James succumbed to injury, individual attackers lost confidence, and opponents found more effective ways of disrupting a mechanical style of play. James in particular is unlikely to be the attacking weapon he was under Tuchel in Maresca's system. More of that creative burden will instead fall on the 2 number 8s, one of which is often likely to be Dewsbury Hall, who must prove he can scale up his impressive championship production last season, 12 goals, 14 assists, now he's back in the Premier League. The ripple effects of such a tactical change will be fascinating. In his search for balance, Maresca will be forced to make some bold judgments on which of Chelsea's defensive players he trusts the most, and his thinking should become clear early in pre-season. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more Chelsea content.